The notification came at 3:47 a.m. Not an alarm, not a phone call, a single line of text on Kevin Park's laptop screen that made his blood stop. Your vault is compromised. 48 hours to pay, or your clients lose everything. $47 million in cryptocurrency, locked, frozen, held hostage by someone who signed their message with one word, ghost. Kevin stared at the screen in his empty office. 28 years old, built his company from nothing. 12 employees depending on him. 3,000 clients trusting him with their life savings. And in one night, it was all gone. What he didn't know yet was this. The person who would save everything was about to walk through his door, carrying a pizza, and nobody was going to believe her. Maya Chen checked her phone. One more delivery, 19th of the night. Her legs hurt. Her back ached. The electric scooter battery was at 15%. But she needed the money. Always needed the money. She pulled up to the building on Howard Street. Glass and steel. Startup money written all over it. 5th floor, Sentinel Vault. She'd heard of them. Cryptocurrency storage. Digital wallets. The kind of thing that made billions or disappeared overnight. Maya grabbed the pizza. Extra large, pepperoni, and mushroom. Walked into the lobby. Took the elevator up. The door was unlocked. She pushed it open and stopped. Every light was on. 6 people hunched over laptops, pizza boxes everywhere, energy drink cans covering every surface. And the smell, sweat, panic, desperation. A man in his late 20s stood in the middle, expensive hoodie, expensive shoes, face that hadn't slept in days. He saw Maya, barely registered her. Just put it on the table. His voice was hollow. Maya set down the pizza, looked around. Nobody was eating. Nobody was talking, just typing. Frantic, desperate typing. She should have left. Should have taken her $40 and moved on to the next delivery, but something stopped her. The code on the nearest screen. She recognized the structure. Ransomware. Advanced. The kind that took weeks to crack. If you could crack it at all. Maya had seen code like this before. 5 years ago. When she was someone else. When she worked at Coinbase. When she had an actual career. Before everything fell apart. Before Marcus Chen ruined her life. She pushed the memory away. Not now. Never now. Anything else? She asked. The man didn't look up. No, thanks. Maya should have walked away. Should have kept her head down. Should have stayed invisible like she'd been for 3 years. But she saw something on the screen. A signature buried in the code, a pattern she recognized, and suddenly she couldn't breathe. She knew who did this. Knew exactly who. The man who destroyed her was destroying someone else. And she was the only person in this room who could stop him. But nobody would listen to a pizza delivery girl. Nobody ever did. Kevin Park hadn't slept in 36 hours. His CTO was useless. His security team was panicking. He'd called every cybersecurity firm in San Francisco. All of them said the same thing. This ransomware was too sophisticated, too well designed. They needed time. Weeks, maybe. Kevin didn't have weeks. He had 42 hours before his clients started pulling their money, before lawsuits started, before everything he'd built disappeared. Kevin, his CTO, Brandon, looked up, eyes bloodshot. I can't crack it. The encryption is military grade. Whoever did this knew exactly what they were doing. So figure it out. I'm trying. We all are. But this isn't some script kiddie attack. This is professional. Kevin wanted to throw something. Wanted to scream, but he just nodded. Keep working. He walked to the window. Looked out at San Francisco. 3 a.m. City lights. Building he couldn't afford anymore if this didn't get fixed. His phone buzzed. Another investor calling. Another person who trusted him asking what happened. He ignored it. What could he say? That he'd failed? That some hacker named Ghost had outsmarted his entire company? That $47 million was gone and he had no idea how to get it back. The delivery girl was still standing by the door. Kevin had forgotten about her. I said, "Thanks. You can go." She didn't move, just stood there, staring at the screens. "What?" His voice came out harsher than he meant. "Sorry, I couldn't help but notice. Your encryption, it's custom built, not commercial ransomware. Someone wrote this specifically for you." Kevin stared at her. "What?" "The code structure, the way it's layered. This wasn't an opportunistic attack. Someone knew your system, knew exactly where to hit. How do you—" He trailed off. She was a delivery girl, early 20s, pizza company uniform, probably high school education. "Never mind. Thanks for the pizza." Maya bit her lip. This was stupid, so stupid. But she couldn't stop herself. "I can help." The room went quiet. Everyone stopped typing. 6 pairs of eyes on the girl holding an empty pizza bag. Brandon laughed, bitter, exhausted. "Yeah, you gonna hack the hackers? Between deliveries?" "I'm serious. So am I. We've been working on this for 36 hours. You think you can solve it because you looked at a screen for 10 seconds. Maya's jaw tightened. "I think I can solve it because I know who did this." Kevin walked over, studied her face. "What's your name?" "Maya." "Maya what?" "Chen." "And how exactly do you know who hacked us?" This was the moment. The moment where everything changed. Where she could stay invisible, stay safe, stay the girl nobody noticed, or she could tell the truth. Maya took a breath. "Because he's done this before, and because I used to work with him." The room exploded, everyone talking at once. Brandon was on his feet. "Are you kidding me?" "You work for the hacker. Is this a joke?" "I don't work for him. I worked with him 5 years ago, at Coinbase." "Coinbase?" Kevin's voice was sharp. "You worked at Coinbase? I was a security engineer, until I wasn't." "What happened?" Maya looked at the floor. This was the part she hated, the part that made her stomach hurt. "I found irregularities in our transaction logs. Someone was skimming, small amounts. Millions of small amounts that added up to real money. I reported it. Turned out the person skimming was well connected. Had friends in management. When I pushed, they pushed back, said I was lying, trying to cover my own theft, fired me, blacklisted me. Made sure I'd never work in tech again." She looked up, met Kevin's eyes. "The person who set me up was named Marcus Chen. We called him Ghost, because that's how he worked. Invisible, untraceable. And the signature in your ransomware? That's his. I'd know it anywhere." Kevin studied her face, looking for lies, looking for any reason not to trust this stranger who appeared out of nowhere with an impossible story. "You're telling me you used to be a cybersecurity engineer at Coinbase?" "Yes." "And now you deliver pizza?" "Yes." "Why?" "Because nobody will hire me, because my name is toxic, because I need money, and this is the only work I could get." Brandon shook his head. "This is insane. Kevin, we can't—" "Can you actually crack this?" Kevin cut him off, kept his eyes on Maya. "Or are you just guessing?" Maya walked to the nearest computer, pulled up the code. Her fingers moved across the keyboard like she'd never stopped, like the 3 years delivering pizza had been a dream. Within 30 seconds, she'd isolated 3 vulnerabilities in the encryption. Within 2 minutes, she'd mapped the data flow. Within 5 minutes, she'd found Ghost's signature buried so deep nobody else would ever see it. She stood back, let them look. Brandon's face went white. "How did you—" "Because I know how he thinks. I know his patterns, his tells, the way he writes loops, the shortcuts he takes when he's showing off." Maya turned to Kevin. "I can break this, but I need access. Full access. No restrictions." "Why should I trust you?" "Because you're out of options. Because you have 40 hours left. And because Ghost wants you to fail. He wants to watch you beg and pay and lose everything anyway. That's how he works." Kevin looked at Brandon, at his team, at the screens showing millions of dollars locked away, at this girl in a pizza uniform who somehow knew more than everyone in the room. If you're lying, if this is a setup, then you lose nothing you weren't going to lose anyway. Maya's voice was steady. But if I'm telling the truth, I can save your company, your choice. Kevin made the choice that would change both their lives. Brandon, give her access, full access. Kevin, I know what it is. Do it. Brandon's hands were shaking as he logged Maya in, gave her administrative privileges, stepped back like she might explode. Maya sat down, cracked her knuckles, and got to work. For the first time in 3 years, she felt like herself. The code was beautiful. Maya hated that about Ghost. Hated that even when he was destroying people, his work was elegant, sophisticated, the kind of thing you'd study in a class about advanced cryptography. But she knew him, knew the way he thought, knew that for all his skill, Ghost had one weakness: ego. He always left a way in, always left a back door. Not because he wanted to be caught, but because he wanted to prove he could. Wanted someone smart enough to find it and know they'd been beaten. Maya started with the encryption layers, peeled them back one at a time, each one more complex than the last. Ghost had used a custom algorithm, something he'd probably written specifically for this job, military grade mixed with his own innovations. It would take most teams months to crack. Maya had it mapped in 4 hours. She didn't stop for food, didn't stop for water, barely blinked. Around her, the team watched in silence. They'd stopped working, stopped pretending they could help, just watched this girl in a pizza uniform do things they couldn't understand. Brandon stood behind her, watching the code flow across the screen. That's not possible. You can't decrypt that layer without the original key. Maya didn't look up. You can, if you know the algorithm's weakness. Ghost always uses prime factorization as a base, but he gets lazy with the second-tier encryption, uses predictable patterns to save time. She typed faster. There, see that sequence? That's his tell. Once you find it, the whole thing unravels. Brandon leaned closer. My God, you're actually doing it. Not yet. This is just the encryption. The ransomware itself is the real problem. It's designed to corrupt data if you try to remove it incorrectly. Ghost built in 12 different tripwires. Trigger any of them and the files delete themselves permanently. Kevin had been watching from across the room. Now, he walked over. How long? To crack it completely? 6 more hours? Maybe 8. We don't have 8 hours. I know. But if I rush this, we lose everything. The tripwires are designed to catch exactly that. Panic, desperation. People trying to brute force their way through. Maya finally looked up. Trust me, I've been where you are. Ghost destroyed my career because I wouldn't stay quiet. He's doing the same thing to you. But the difference is, I know how to beat him. Kevin held her eyes. Why are you doing this? What do you get out of it? Maya thought about her father, about the medical bills, about 3 years of being invisible, about watching people look through her like she was furniture. Maybe I'm tired of delivering pizza. Maybe I'm tired of being someone I'm not. Maybe I just want to prove that the person who ruined my life doesn't get to ruin anyone else's. She turned back to the screen. Now let me work. The sun rose. Maya barely noticed. She was deep in the code now, swimming in binary and algorithms and logic trees that branched into infinity. She found the first tripwire at 6 a.m., isolated it, diffused it without triggering the cascade, found the second at 6:30. That one was harder, hidden inside a recursive loop that would have crashed most systems. But Maya saw it, saw the pattern, disarmed it with 3 lines of code. By 7 a.m., she'd found 8 of the 12. Her eyes burned, her hands cramped. But she didn't stop. Brandon brought her coffee. She drank it without tasting it. Kevin brought her food. She ate mechanically, never looking away from the screen. Maya, Kevin's voice was quiet. You need to rest. I'm fine. You've been at this for 8 hours straight. I'm fine. But she wasn't fine. The code was getting harder. Ghost had saved the worst for last. The final 4 tripwires were masterpieces, overlapping, interdependent, designed so that disarming one could trigger another. It was brilliant, vicious, classic Ghost. Maya sat back, rubbed her eyes. What? Brandon asked. I need to think. These last 4 are connected. If I touch the wrong one first, the whole thing collapses. She stood, paced. Everyone watched her. This girl who'd walked in with a pizza and somehow become their only hope. Maya's phone buzzed, her delivery app, asking where she was. She'd missed her entire shift, missed all the morning deliveries, the money she needed, her father's medication that was due tomorrow. She silenced the phone. Some things were more important than money. Some fights you couldn't walk away from. Even if winning meant finally facing the person who destroyed you, I know how to do it. Maya sat back down. The tripwires are connected in sequence, but the sequence isn't chronological. It's based on Ghost's signature, the pattern he used in the encryption. If I disarm them in the order he wrote them, they won't trigger. Brandon looked doubtful. You can't possibly know the order he wrote them. Yes, I can. Because I worked with him for 2 years. I know his process. He always writes security measures from most complex to least. It's a quirk. He thinks it makes the code more elegant, more beautiful. She pulled up the 4 remaining tripwires, studied them. This one, then these 2 simultaneously. What if you're wrong? Then we lose everything, but I'm not wrong. Maya's fingers moved across the keyboard. First tripwire. 3 lines of code. A deep breath. Enter. The screen flickered. Everyone held their breath. Green text. Tripwire disarmed. Second tripwire. This one was nested deeper. Required more finesse. Maya wrote the code slowly, carefully. Every character perfect. Enter to flicker. Tripwire disarmed. 2 left. These needed to be hit at the same time. 1 microsecond of difference and they'd trigger each other. Maya split her screen, code on the left, code on the right. She wrote both sequences. Checked them 3 times. Here we go. She hit enter on both simultaneously. The screen went black. Everyone gasped. For 5 seconds, nothing. Then text appeared. Tripwires disarmed. System unlocked. The room erupted. Brandon was shouting. The team was hugging. Kevin stood frozen, staring at the screen. $47 million. Unlocked, accessible, safe. Maya sat back, closed her eyes. It wasn't over. Not yet. Because now came the hard part. Now she had to find Ghost. Had to trace him back through his own code. Had to do what no one else in the world could do. She had to beat Marcus Chen at his own game. Maya, Kevin's voice was shaking. You did it! You actually did it! Not yet. The ransomware is broken, but Ghost is still out there. He can do this again. To you. To anyone. Unless we stop him. How? Maya pulled up a new window, started writing code. Every hacker leaves traces. Digital fingerprints. Ghost thinks he's invisible, but he's not. Not to someone who knows him. I'm going to trace the attack back to its source. Find out where he is, who he is now. And then I'm going to make sure he never does this again. Brandon shook his head. That's impossible. If he's as good as you say, he is, but I'm better. Maya's fingers flew. He taught me how to hide, but he never thought I'd use it to find him. She worked for another 3 hours, followed the data trail through 17 proxy servers, 4 countries, dozens of false endpoints designed to throw off trackers. But Maya knew Ghost's patterns, knew when he was bluffing, when he was hiding, when he thought he was safe. Finally, at 2 p.m., she found it. The source, a location in San Francisco, 3 miles from where they were sitting. Got him? Kevin looked over her shoulder. That's a Starbucks? That's where he transmitted from, but that's not where he lives. Give me 10 more minutes. Maya dove deeper, tracked his digital footprints, found his actual IP address hidden behind 6 layers of encryption, found his real location, and felt something cold settle in her stomach. She knew that address. Had been there before. What is it? Kevin asked. That's Marcus Chen's apartment. My old colleague, the one who got me fired. The one who destroyed my career and made sure I'd never work again. Maya's voice was hollow. He didn't just hack you for money. He did it to hurt me. Kevin frowned. How would hacking us hurt you? Because you hired me. Because I'm here. Because, Maya stopped, understanding. He knew. He knew I'd recognize his signature. Knew I couldn't stay quiet. He set this whole thing up so I'd have to come forward. So I'd have to expose myself. So everyone would know the pizza delivery girl used to be someone else. She laughed, bitter. It's not about the money. It never is with Ghost. It's about proving he's smarter, better, that he wins even when he loses. So what do? Maya stood. We call the FBI, give them everything, let them arrest him. Will they? I don't know. Ghost is good at covering his tracks. Even with all this evidence, he might slip away. He usually does. Kevin was quiet for a long moment. Then, Maya, what if you didn't deliver pizza anymore? She looked at him. What? What if you worked here, as our head of security, full salary, full benefits, a real career? The one you should have had 3 years ago. Maya's throat tightened. I'm blacklisted. Nobody will hire me. I'm hiring you, right now. You just saved my company, saved 3,000 people's life savings. Proved you're the best security engineer I've ever seen. I don't care about blacklists. I care about results. Kevin, 24 hours ago, I was about to lose everything. You walked in with a pizza and saved it all. You think I'm going to let you go back to deliveries? He held out his hand. Work for me. Help me build something better, something Ghost can't touch. Maya looked at his hand, at the team watching her, at the screens showing code she'd written. Code that proved she was exactly who she used to be, who she'd always been. She thought about her father, about 3 years of being invisible, about Marcus Chen laughing somewhere, thinking he'd won. She took Kevin's hand. Okay, but I have conditions. Name them. 1. We don't just call the FBI, we build a case. A real case with evidence Ghost can't deny. We make sure he goes to prison. For what he did to you. For what he did to me. For what he's done to dozens of other people. Done. 2. I want to be part of the security team that testifies. I want him to see me. Want him to know that the person he tried to destroy is the one who caught him. Kevin smiled. I wouldn't have it any other way. Maya pulled her hand back, looked at the pizza delivery uniform she was still wearing. 3 years. 3 years of people looking through her, of being someone she wasn't, of hiding who she used to be because Marcus Chen decided she didn't deserve a career. No more. When do I start? Right now. The FBI came that afternoon. Maya walked them through everything, showed them the code, the signatures, the digital trail leading directly to Marcus Chen. They listened, took notes. 2 agents exchanged looks that Maya recognized. Skepticism. Miss Chen, you're saying you tracked this hacker through multiple proxy servers across international borders using custom code you wrote in 3 hours? Yes. And you're currently employed as... The agent checked his notes. A pizza delivery driver. I was... As of 2 hours ago, I'm the head of security at Sentinel Vault. The agent looked at Kevin. Is that true? Completely. She saved my company. Proved herself more capable than anyone I could have hired. So I hired her. The agent turned back to Maya. Miss Chen, are you aware that making false claims to federal investigators is a crime? Maya felt something break inside her. 3 years. 3 years of people not believing her, not trusting her. assuming she was lying because of what Marcus Chen had made them believe. I'm also aware that every single thing I've told you is true and can be verified. The code is right there. The trail is clear. Marcus Chen, operating under the alias Ghost, hacked Sentinel Vault 48 hours ago. He locked $47 million in cryptocurrency behind military-grade ransomware, and I proved it was him. She pulled up the final trace. This is his IP address. This is his location. This is everything you need to arrest him. Are you going to do your job? Or are you going to let him get away with it? Because you don't believe a former pizza delivery girl can be smarter than your entire cybercrime division. The room was silent. The agent stared at her, then at the screen, then back at her. We'll investigate. If what you're saying checks out, we'll make an arrest. When? When we've verified everything. These things take time. He could run. He could destroy evidence. He could disappear and do this again to someone else. Miss Chen, we appreciate your help, but we have procedures. Maya wanted to scream, wanted to throw something, but she just nodded. Fine, but when you arrest him, I want to be there. I want him to see me. The agent didn't answer, just gathered his notes and left. Kevin put a hand on her shoulder. They'll get him. Maybe. Or maybe Ghost wins again. Maybe he always wins. Not this time, because you're not alone anymore. You have me. You have this team, and you have proof. Real, undeniable proof. Kevin squeezed her shoulder. He can't run from that. But Maya knew better. Ghost always had one more trick, always had one more way out. The question was whether she could stop him before he used it. 3 days later, the FBI arrested Marcus Chen. They found him in his apartment in Pacific Heights, surrounded by computer equipment, evidence everywhere. He didn't resist, just smiled, like he'd expected it, like it was all part of some bigger plan. Maya watched from across the street. She'd asked to be there. Kevin had made it happen, pulled strings, called people, made sure Maya got to see the moment Marcus Chen stopped being Ghost and started being just another criminal. He saw her as they walked him out. Their eyes met across the street. He was still smiling, still certain he'd won somehow. Maya didn't smile back, just watched as they put him in the car. Watched as everything he'd built disappeared in one moment. The way he'd made her disappear 3 years ago. The FBI agent from before walked over. Miss Chen, looks like you were right. I was always right. You just didn't believe me. For what it's worth, your evidence was solid, airtight. He can't talk his way out of this one. Good. Maya turned to leave. Miss Chen, why delivery pizza? With your skills, you could have done anything, gone anywhere. Why stay in San Francisco delivering food? Maya thought about her father, about the flexibility she needed, about staying close when he needed her, about choosing family over career because that's what you do when you love someone. Because some things are more important than code. Some things matter more than being right. She walked away, back to Kevin's office. Back to the computers and the team and the work she'd missed for 3 years. Back to being herself. That night, Maya sat with her father. He was having a good day, lucid, present, knowing who she was. You look happy, Maya. I am, Dad. I got my job back, my real job. The computers? Yeah, the computers. I'm proud of you, always have been. He patted her hand. Even when you were delivering pizza, I was proud because you never gave up. Never stopped being who you are. Maya's eyes burned. I missed it. Missed feeling like I was good at something. You're good at a lot of things. But yeah, you're really good at computers. He smiled. Just like your mother. They sat in comfortable silence. Maya thought about Marcus Chen in a cell, about Kevin's company safe, about 3,000 people who still had their savings because she'd walked through a door carrying pizza, about the FBI agent who hadn't believed her until the evidence was too strong to deny, about everyone who'd looked through her for 3 years. who'd assumed the uniform meant she was nothing, that she couldn't be smart, couldn't be capable, couldn't be extraordinary. She'd proved them all wrong, not because she needed to, but because when the moment came, she couldn't stay quiet, couldn't let Ghost win, couldn't let people lose everything because she was too afraid to remember who she used to be. 6 months later, Maya sat in her office at Sentinel Vault. Real office. Her name on the door. Head of security underneath it. The company had grown. Kevin had used the publicity from stopping the hack to attract new clients, new investors. They were doing well, better than well. And Maya had built the most secure cryptocurrency system in San Francisco, maybe in the world. Her team called her brilliant, called her a genius, called her the reason they all slept better at night. She didn't correct them, just did her job, just wrote code, just made sure what happened that night never happened again. Kevin knocked on her door. Got a minute? Always. New hire starting Monday, junior security analyst, fresh out of MIT, smart kid. Bit of a troublemaker. Reminds me of someone. Maya smiled. Yeah. Thought you might want to mentor them, show them how it's done. I can do that. Kevin started to leave, stopped. Maya, thank you for everything, for saving the company, for staying, for being exactly who you are. Thanks for believing me, for seeing past the uniform. Wasn't hard. You made it pretty obvious you were extraordinary. After he left, Maya turned back to her screens. Lines of code flowing, algorithms dancing, systems building and rebuilding and becoming stronger with every iteration. She thought about the girl who'd walked in with a pizza, who'd been invisible for 3 years, who'd almost stayed quiet because nobody ever listened anyway. That girl had saved everything, had proved that worth isn't measured in job titles, that intelligence doesn't disappear because circumstances change, that sometimes the person everyone ignores is the person everyone needs. Her phone buzzed. A text from her delivery app. They'd never removed her from the system. Want to pick up a shift? Maya looked at it, thought about saying yes, about going back just to remember where she'd been, but she didn't need to remember. She'd never forget. She deleted the app, turned back to her code, and kept building. Sometimes the world tries to make you smaller than you are, tries to convince you that where you are is all you'll ever be, that the uniform you wear defines who you are, that the mistakes of others become your permanent identity. But the truth is simpler. You are who you've always been, and when the moment comes to prove it, to step out of the shadows and show the world what you're capable of, that's when you find out if you're brave enough to be seen. Maya had been brave enough, had stopped being invisible, had saved thousands of people and caught a criminal and reclaimed her life. All because she walked through a door carrying pizza and decided not to stay quiet. Sometimes that's all it takes. One moment of courage, one decision to be seen, one choice to remember who you are and refuse to be anyone else. If this story touched you, leave a comment. Tell us about a time you refused to stay invisible. And if you're still hiding who you really are, maybe today's the day to stop. Subscribe if you want more stories about ordinary people doing extraordinary things, because that's all any of us really are. Ordinary people, waiting for the moment to be extraordinary.